All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Ilster, president of Downtown Madison, Inc., and welcome to an extra special What's Up Downtown breakfast here in August. We are so excited to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this incredible facility, the Overture Center. We've got a whole, We're going to have a conversation with the executive team at the Overture Center about how this place came about and what it's up to now. And we've got some of the resident company leaders here as well. But before we begin today's presentation, we'd like to recognize several new members to DMI. So if you're a new member, please stand up. We've got Kara Petrie, Clean Wisconsin, CT Access Inc., Damon Farber, Landscape Architects, Jessica Ely, Marlon Fisk, Modus Financial Inc., New Year Investments, RDG Planning and Design, Snyder and Associates Inc., Step Up Equity Matters, The Neutral Project, Tuba Cleaning LLC, and Zodica Perfumery. Thank you to all of our new members. We're excited for you all to join us here today. We've got some more excitement. You guys can hang out with us in just about 10 days' time here. Our annual celebration is just a few days away, and we kept it very easy for you all. We're just going to be across the street at the Orpheum on Monday, September 9th from 4 to 7 p.m. Come join us for our annual celebration. We're truly going to be celebrating downtown and State Street. We've got lots of great food, music, and you'll only have to hear from me for 10 minutes. If that's not reason enough, it is our largest fundraiser of the year, so it pays me, so that's also a good thing as well. So I hope you can join us. If you haven't, please go to our website for all ticketing information. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors at today's event. I know many of you are in the building today. We wouldn't be here without our major series sponsor, our good friends at Carlson, Black, O'Callahan, and Battenberg, located literally right across the street, right behind the library. They are a commercial real estate firm, land use cooperatives, nonprofit business, and tax law here in downtown Madison. We've had the great fortune have several of their partners be longtime stewards and leaders of our organization. Currently, Dan O'Callahan is a member of our board of directors. Angie Black is the past secretary of our board of directors, and Matt Carlson served as our chair for years. We greatly appreciate all of their involvement in DMI and in downtown as well. The What's Up Downtown series is also sponsored by our good friends at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison, JP Cullen, I think Jeannie is here, Lake Ridge Bank, I know Jim and Scott and the team are here as well, Urban Land Interest, I think I saw Bob here somewhere. There he is, right in the back. And our friends at the Madison Community Foundation. Thanks to them, you're drinking coffee and eating breakfast. So huge thank you to Bob Sorge and the team at the Madison Community Foundation, who have probably the greatest product placement around, directly above my head. That was just put up for this event. Yes, yes. Thank these sponsors again, our good friends at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison, JP Cullen, Lake Ridge Bank, Urban Land Interest, the Madison Community Foundation, and lastly, our special contributor, our good friends at the Overture Center. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today's rotating monthly sponsor is Wipfli LLP. We greatly appreciate everything that Wipfli does, and we really greatly appreciate Anita Mohammed, who is the current treasurer of Downtown Madison, Inc. I know little to nothing about numbers, and so thank you to Anita. No, that was a joke. I do. Your money's in good hands. Anita, are you coming up to save me? There she is.
Thanks, Jason, and good morning, everyone. My name is Anita Mohammed, and I'm a partner with Wipfli LLP and member of the DMI Board of Directors. And we're really happy to be the sponsor of this month's What's Up Downtown Madison. Can't talk this morning. What's Up Downtown? Whatever it's called. I'm just so sorry. What's Up Downtown Breakfast Series. I'm just so excited to be here celebrating 20 years of the Overture. I can't believe it's been 20 years already. Broadway Club subscriber myself, so extremely happy for this resource in our community. So Whipley is a multifaceted accounting firm that wants to help organizations like yours create lasting positive impact. And we're in economic changing times. We've got some tax law provisions that are about to sunset, and we want to help organizations and leaders like you proactively plan for those sunsetting tax laws as we go into the next couple of years. So we invite you to visit whipley.com for industry-specific insights for construction and real estate, financial institutions, nonprofits, and more. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed today's presentation.
Well, thank you, Anita, for all your stewardship of DMI. I think maybe we'll not just be the accountant for DMI and the treasurer, but you could be the new chief marketing officer. We'll just call it whatever this event is called. I like that. I like that a lot. Heather, write that one down, please. All right, this morning's program, we're excited to discuss the past 2 decades of this phenomenal Overture Center and the profound impact it has had on the local economy and the evolving landscape of performing arts in our community and beyond. To participate in this discussion, we are pleased to welcome and introduce the Overture Center Executive Leadership Team, who I welcome to join us here in the front. The team consists of Mike Conway, Chief Operating Officer at the Overture Center. With over 25 years in live entertainment, Mike specializes in operational excellence, leadership, and fostering inclusive cultures. He joined the Overture in 2022, bringing experience from leading values of Live Nation and the Second City, where he managed multi-billion-dollar budgets and complex projects. Did you also do improv at Second City?
No.
There you go.
That's a good thing.
Well, that was good. That's a good improv answer. So there you go. Jeannie Dahlman is the Chief Marketing Officer and Communications Officer at the Overture Center. Since July of 2023, Jeannie has led the Overture's marketing and communications. She has leadership roles at the Interlochen Center for the Arts, San Diego Symphony, Neuralite, Petco, and Borders Group, Inc., significantly enhancing audience engagement and revenue growth across various organizations. Welcome.
Thank you.
Emily Grunwald, a Chief Development Officer at the Overture Center. Emily is a strategic fundraiser and development leader with nearly 6 years at the Overture. Her experience includes directing philanthropy at UW-Whitewater and leading donor relations at the Madison Youth Choirs. She is recognized for expertise in external communications, strategic planning, and donor engagement. Welcome, Emily. All right. Fan in the front, Emily. I like it. When I got up here, no one did anything. All right. Tim Sowers, Chief Artistic Experiences Officer at the Overture Center. Tim has been with the Overture for over 16 years, where he's played a pivotal role in bringing Broadway, you're welcome, Anita, to the Overture, curating diverse artistic seasons and expanding community engagement. His leadership has driven the success of programs like the International Festival and thank you, Kids in the Rotunda, significantly increasing audience reach and participation. And last but certainly not least,
Wait, I have something to say.
Oh, you do?
I just wanted to say I did do improv on the Second City stage.
Woo!
Oh. Mike. Would he retort?
I wasn't there for that, so I don't feel like I'm qualified to answer.
I think he actually was there, and he was qualified to answer. Anyway, Chris Vogel, how's your improv career?
Non-existent.
All right, there we go. But you do something like Anita, so thank you. You're Chief Financial and Business Officer at the Overture Center. He's been with since 2016, advancing to CFO in 2018, with extensive experience in accounting and financial management from roles with Smith & Jesselyn and Grant Thornton LLP. He oversees the financial and business operations to ensure the Overture's fiscal health. And we're going to have 3 other resident company members join us in a little bit, but we're going to talk about the Overture Center itself first. The question that I'm going to start with Tim, since he knows everything about improv, is tell us a story about the founding of the Overture Center for the Arts. What was the original vision and how has it evolved for the years? You don't want to answer that question.
No.
Emily does.
I do. I would love to.
All right.
You'll have me.
No. Yes, I will.
So, Overture is turning 20 years old, but our history really begins in 1928 with the Capitol Theater just down the hall here. It was opened as a silent movie house, and shortly thereafter, talkies came out, and so it was a movie theater. It housed some concerts and things, but we really didn't have an art center here until the mid-1970s, when then Mayor Paul Soglin announced that the city was purchasing the theater and turning it into what was then known as the Madison Civic Center, which opened in 1979. And in that project, that theater was renovated, and then also the Playhouse, what we know now as the Playhouse, opened, which is our thrust stage of about 350 seats, where primarily forward theater and CTM perform. And also the Madison Arts Center was constructed at that time too, now known as the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art. And that was a great facility for Madison Arts. It really amplified the artistic quality of the programs, allowed our organizations to professionalize and to become really well-respected arts organizations. But by the mid-1990s, we had outgrown the space. We've outgrown it physically, the space itself. Imagine it was a movie house. It was not intended for live performance. So it has zero wing space. It has very few dressing rooms, and the loading dock was right off of Henry Street outside. And so there are functional challenges around that. So there were conversations about, we need a new space. What could that look like? And someone that hopefully you all know stepped forward. Longtime Madisonian businessman, philanthropist Jerry Fauci stepped forward and said, I want to see this happen. I pledge $50 million. I remember that day very vividly because I was home from college, and a lot of my personal experiences happened at the Madison Civic Center, and my mom heard that on the radio and screamed like she won the lottery. So I came downstairs and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, you have to hear what this wonderful man is doing. And his wife, she's going to help too. So his wife is Pleasant Rowland, who started American Girl. Yes. And without the vision and design, aesthetic, and commitment to the arts, Overture would not be here. As Jerry got involved in that design process, internationally renowned architect Cesare Pelli was the architect on the project, and he realized that he did not want to build a center for what we needed in 1997. He wanted to build a center that would be here for future generations. And he ended up contributing $205 million to the project, which funded it completely, and it still remains the singular largest gift to the arts in US history. And that's here in Madison. And so we opened on September 18th, 2004. I almost say 24, and everyone looks at me. And then the other Capitol Theater, the Playhouse, and the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art were part of Phase 2, and that opened in 2006. In 2010, we, at that point, had continued to be a city-operated facility, but in 2010, we separated from the city and became a fully independent nonprofit arts organization. And continue to now provide over 500,000 artistic experiences to the community each year, and on average, 40% of them are through free and low-cost programs. We are so appreciative and grateful to have this space here for the arts, for us all to be a community space to help us connect and celebrate the best parts of being a human.
How has the Overture Center's role changed in the last 20 years? Should I just keep calling on Tim and seeing if it's him?
Sure, I'll let you know when I'm ready.
I think the continuously changing role. I mean, Tim can really talk to the programming aspects of that, but in terms of the city, here, we opened up, and it really was about, it's very much about the resident companies, for our resident companies to have a professional space that reflects the artistic quality of what they do here, which allows us to attract great artistic leaders like John Malik, who's joined us in the last couple of years, and to think about what that fabric, that artistic fabric of Madison can be in the future. We've also seen some really great projects like WISO and My Arts, which are really nurturing the younger students or children and families in a completely different way, which I think as we look to the future, that is going to only continue to create this amazing ecosystem of arts. And we're so thankful to see all of these projects and all of these arts organizations thriving across our city here.
I'll add to it, it's all about growth. Right, when I came to Overture 16 years ago from Chicago, and I was the original director of education and engagement, and my charge was to engage the community. Right, at the time, this was a kind of not as busy as a center as it is today, and the growth of things like Broadway and the growth of artists coming in and the growth of programming and the growth of our community. You know, it's someone said to me in my early days, this center is way too big for this town and it will never be highly successful. They said that to me when I first started. I met somebody and I first started and I was like, oh my God, why'd I move here? Right, you know? And so that's what it was started to be all about, was developing programming that was relevant and interesting to people. Can I continue?
You can.
Because you're going to ask me this question, I think, later on.
We'll just cross it off now.
And you know, like, I was thinking about this, like, just this week, every quarter, the executive team has a meeting to meet our new employees face-to-face and ask questions and be able to have a dialogue with them and to welcome them to the organization. And I think there was 8 young people at the table, because everybody's getting younger than me. And 4 of them had some kind of association with us through the Jerry's program, and that is our big high school musical theater initiative that's celebrating its 15th year this year. And it was touching to me that they talked about how that program was instrumental to them to wanting to have a career in the arts. And one of them talked about her, you know, her big moment was getting the opportunity to perform on that stage. And I love that, right? I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, and a young woman came up to me and she goes, "You're Tim from the Overture, right?" And I said, yes, and she said who she was, and now she's a lawyer in New York, and she said, I was in the Tommy program. Like, that's cool, right? And that's why we do what we do here. You know, Broadway is a big visibility piece that we do, and, you know, that's a high-powered series now. You know, we didn't used to get the top-notch tours 20 years ago, and now we get the top-notch tours here. And the same with all the local artists and what that draws to us. And one of the things I love about Broadway for Overture Center is it draws in a lot of people. And those people we can really get into our network, our system, our family here, and be able to have them share all the other programs we had. And one other thing I want to say, and then I'll shut up, is Kids in the Rotunda. You know, that is the Kids in the Crossroad. So one year I was sitting at Monona Grove seeing their high school musical, and these 2 ladies behind me were saying, oh, tomorrow I have the grandkids, what am I going to do with them? And one of them said, you can always take them to Kids in the Rotunda. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect branding. Right, that's what you want to hear. You want them to think about that and have us as a part of their experience. And that Kids in the Rotunda program, when I first got here, I was like, this is the best audience development program in the world. Week after week after week, these kids come back to see these shows and learn really all about the various different kind of artists, have this interactive, positive experience, and then grow up with us, and through our whole network of programming, have an experience for their entire life. And I think that is cool and interesting, right? I just love all the storytelling now. And that's what it's all about, right? Is telling all these great stories of people. So I'm done.
You talk about all these great stories. There have been significant milestones and achievements in the last 20 years. What are some of the most significant milestones that you all have seen here at Overture Center?
I'm taking that.
Tim, your mic is hot.
I don't have the mind for details. I don't. The building of the building is a milestone. I mean, to begin with. I don't know. I don't know how to answer. It's too vague for me.
I think
What? Oh.
I think Emily touched on most of those, right? I think one of the biggest ones that I am now enjoying is our shared leadership model and how that came out of the pandemic long before I was here. Not that long, but long before I was here. So, Chris, do you want to tell us
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. So as you can see, there are 5 of us here. We have a shared co-CEO model, and that was probably a milestone for us, coming out of some significant events. Back at the end of 2019, our CEO did pass away, and at that time, we had operated under the traditional CEO model since our existence, but that was a significant event, losing your CEO. At the time, the board was going to start a new search for a CEO. Obviously, there was going to be an interim period, and those of us, at the VP level or whatever it was, right under the CEO, kind of gave some assurances to the board that, hey, in this interim, while you're searching for a new CEO, you can rely on this team to kind of see the organization through that interim period. So a search for a new CEO began, and then probably one of the other most significant events, March of 2020, COVID closed our doors on March 13th of 2020.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, yep.
Yeah.
And obviously that suspended everything, right? The CEO search, I mean, the world changed, especially here, closing our doors, not knowing how long we would be closed. So it was, again, another major period of uncertainty. So, and again, not a time period where CEOs were really looking, or we were looking to make significant changes. We just wanted to get through the unknown of the pandemic. So again, we told the board of directors, hey, we'll manage. This model has worked for these 4 short months, but we'd like to continue in this model and see the organization through the pandemic. And that continued. We were closed for 18 months. We didn't open up again until about September of 2021. But I think it was approaching that reopening date when the board was then, okay, activity's picking back up. We're going to get ready for reopening. Should we start this new search for a new CEO again? And we went to the board again and said, we've managed through a significant period of uncertainty. We were preparing for reopening. We asked the board to put their trust and make this model permanent, which was, again, yes, we had been operating like this for over a year, but still it was a significant mindset shift, I guess. Everybody was used to that traditional model of you have your CEO, you have your team under it, and just that traditional model. So, and especially, there were 6 of us at the time on that team. But long story short, they did adopt this model. It became official in July of 2021. And that's how we've been operating ever since. We've had some retirements. We've had some new additions to the team. But the team and this model have continued through, I would say, what were some pretty significant events.
So the question was, what's the most significant milestone at the Overture? And whereas I think your answers are correct, they're also wrong. Because the most significant milestone was my wedding 15 years ago, right up on the 3rd floor. Maybe it wasn't very memorable for you all. It was for me. Second question is followed for Emily, because I know she was here and we've had this. Wicked was playing that night on Friday the 13th. How long did the Wicked set sit on stage until they were able to safely remove it?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, it was 6 months. And it would have stayed longer, but the symphony wanted to have an organ concert, right? As part of which is great.
Right.
And what? Yeah. I don't know. I still didn't get to come down in the bubble, though. But, 6 months.
Wow. This shared leadership model is really innovative. How does it foster collaboration, not only between the different departments, but also the resident companies here at the Overture Center?
Yeah, collaboration is the key word, right? Collaboration and communication. I don't think this model couldn't work without it. The communication, the trust between the five of us, the trust that, you know, we're all our unique individuals. Yes, we're co-CEOs, but we are also managing our own departments and our own activity operations within the building. But that collaboration and trust is key to make this work, right? I trust that everybody on this team, all my co-CEOs, are thinking and operating in the best interest of Overture, not in our individual departments. So just that collaboration between us and making those decisions. You know, we meet a couple times throughout the week, 2 hours, 90 minutes. So, and we're not bringing these things to the table that are just our own unique focus. We are focused on, as a CEO would be, these organization-wide issues, initiatives, operations that are impacting us, the entire organization, our resident companies, and making those decisions. You know, some people ask, how do you come to decisions with 5 people in the room? How do you come to decisions? And I think one of the things that's unique, we've never even had to take a vote. Like, we've never had to say, okay, we have this camp, we have this camp, let's vote, and that's how we're going to operate. We collaborate, we communicate, we talk it out, and we know that whoever's presenting this or whoever is presenting the decision is operating in the interest not of themselves, not of their department, but of the Overture Center. So I think that level of trust and collaboration has been key to make this model work.
In 20 years, you all have had significant community impact. You know, how do you think the Overture Center has influenced the overall cultural landscape in Madison, but also just the broader Midwest region? It's had that sort of impact.
I'd like to go back to answer this question, go back to that 500,000 experiences a year. Madison's punching way above its weight for its population, right? Those are numbers that you're looking at in cities 2 and 3 times this size. The venue I came from in Indianapolis, which is over 850,000, had about 350,000 artistic experiences a year. So I think that points to several things. One of the most important is the community involvement and love for this place. And I know this team has done, especially Tim and Emily, all of us really, but is the work with the community, wanting people to feel like this is their place, that they should come here, that they belong here. And I think that's reflected in that 500,000 number for sure.
Can I also talk about the resident organizations? You know, we provide low-cost space for resident organizations and offer all different kinds of programming and arts experiences because of that. You know, the Frauchis really wanted us to be able to provide that space at 50% of what it would cost in Madison. And so to be able to support all of those local arts organizations, we also work with a lot of local arts organizations who are not resident organizations to make sure that they have space and that they can produce and make, you know, be able to be in existence, really, right? Where if they were out and having to find a space, they would not be able to rent a high-quality space like this anywhere else in Madison. So I think that, too, has contributed to the diversity of programming, the diversity of the arts here in Madison, and also just, you know, continued to provide for the community, both the artistic community, but also art lovers.
We'd love to welcome up 3 of our resident companies here today. First up, we have John Malik, Artistic and Executive Director of Madison Ballet. With over 20 years of experience as a performing artist, John Malik has danced with the renowned companies such as Oakland Ballet, Charlotte Ballet, Ballet X, Ballet Hispanico, among others. He's an award-winning choreographer from Harlem, New York, originally. Having created ballets, such companies as the Madison Ballet, the Charlotte Ballet, Ballet Rhode Island, Houston Contemporary Dance Company, and the American Repertory Ballet, among others. In 2010, the New York Times recognized him as a choreographer to watch. His work has been televised on PBS and Broadway and featured in Dance Magazine. From 2007 to 2022, John Malik led Ballet Boy Productions, a project-based dance company dedicated to creating and performing opportunities and providing education and mentoring for young men of color pursuing a ballet career. He assumed the role of Artistic Director of Madison Ballet in 2022 and became Interim Executive Director in 2023. John Malik is a dynamic leader with a clear vision of the ballet's role in modern society, emphasizing diversity and inclusion in performing arts and organizations. Welcome, John. Next up, we're excited to welcome Robert Reed, Executive Director of the Madison Symphony Orchestra. Robert joined the Madison Symphony Orchestra as Executive Director in June of 2022. In 34 years managing orchestras and cultural arts organizations, he has led successful fundraising and capital campaigns, long-range strategy and artistic planning, labor relations, and has worked to build engagement with communities he has served. Under his leadership, the Madison Symphony Orchestra has reached new audiences with its MSO at the Movies series featuring film screenings and live orchestra, and its new MSO on the Go, a series of community and family concerts and diverse programming in Symphony's regular subscription series. Robert is a member of the Rotary Club of Madison and currently serves on the club's board of directors. Next up, we have Jen Uphoff-Gray, Artistic Director of Forward Theater Company. Jen co-founded Forward Theater in 2009. This fall, she'll be directing her 30th production for Forward. As a freelance director, she worked on and off Broadway for 12 years before returning home to southern Wisconsin. Jen has a degree in dramatic literature and stage history from Harvard College, and with her husband Peter, has raised 3 children on Madison's West Side. Welcome, Jen. I've got a 2-part question for all 3 of you, Robert, Ja, and Jen. How do the resident organizations view the Overture Center as their home, and how does this being their home enhance the artistic output and reach of each of those resident organizations? Jen, we'll start with you.
Thank you. I think this relationship is so meaningful for speaking as for Forward Theater, but I think for all of the res orgs. It's a meaningful relationship for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is not a landlord-tenant relationship that we have here. It's much more of a partnership. It's a shared building. You have Overture's incredible team and their incredible staff at every level in the building, making sure that this facility provides exceptional experiences for the patrons who come in, but also making sure that this facility is an incredible professional place to work for all of the artists, not just the ones who come in on a touring production, but all the ones who live and work here in our community and with all of our organizations. So it's a constant, beautiful conversation about how to elevate all of the art that happens in this building and to look for places where we can elevate each other's work. And the second half of your question, Jason, really kind of follows on. It elevates what all of us do because we are doing it in a space where there's a lot more going on. The energy that our patrons bring into the Playhouse Theater when they come to see a Forward Theater show is a different, more vibrant energy if they have walked through the lobby and mingled with thousands of people coming to a symphony or a Broadway production here in this space, a canopy dance production happening upstairs. When the building is rocking and rolling, as my company manager likes to say, it makes the entire experience better for everybody in the building.
John Malik, do you have examples of sort of the Madison Ballet, how the other resident companies have helped enhance your artistic output?
Well, I'm new, so I don't know. No. I agree with everything Jen just said because it is true. I mean, when I came here, or let me go back. So I'm from New York City, which is a huge arts capital. Growing up at Lincoln Center, which is a huge performing arts entity, as well as City Center and the Joyce Theater. So I have 3 pillars of a similarity to this, where they have resident companies, and it's because of them that I got into the arts. I come from a single-parent household with 7 siblings, and my mother raised us all on her own, and there were very limited funds, and it was things like Lincoln Center and City Center that allowed me to come at like 7 or 8 years old to stand on stage with the Dance Theater of Harlem as a super in their Firebird production. And if it wasn't for experiences like that, I would never have thought to really enter into the arts. I would never have thought there was a space for me. So I understand the importance of a building like this, and I'm getting to the answer eventually.
I have no doubt.
Oh, okay, good. So yeah, so it's amazing when we come here and perform, as you just said, when we're in either the Capitol Theater or here at the Overture Hall doing Nutcracker, and there's the Playhouse having Forward Theater going, and then Canopy is doing their winter festival in Promenade Hall, and then there's art gallery things going on, and there's also things that are going on State Street that are engaging, and everything just works together, and it makes you excited about not only what you're coming to see, but what else is going on in the building. I know I have been here several times on my own to see like the symphony or Forward Theater or the chamber orchestra, and just happen to be like, oh, Wicked is coming. How great is that, you know? And I've lived in places where this is not accessible. I feel like an army brat, but an arts brat, because I've lived everywhere. So I've lived in very rural places where there is very limited arts. So it is amazing that this city has produced this amazing facility and given us as resident companies a home to express our art and express ourselves and also collaborate within our organizations, but also, as she said, with the Overture Center. I have worked with other organizations, and let me tell you, whew, it is not joyful. They do not care. I've been to, I won't say any names, Kennedy Center, where they have gone on with plans and did not care about the artists who are resident companies there at all. They built a stage that had concrete on it for a dance company. What sense did that make? I have no idea. I'm still asking the question why. But here they actually ask us for our input on things such as signage and renovations and things we need, and they care about us as an organization, and we feel that and in return are able to produce art at a very high level. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
You know, Robert, next question, Robert, is for you. You know, we talked about how the resident companies work so well in this space, but you also, because of those connections, work well outside of this space, and some of the work that you all are doing, MSO on the Go, and other things you're doing in the downtown space. How do the relationships help you grow as an organization outside of these walls, which are your traditional, facility where you're performing?
Well, first, being here at the Overture Center, as we said, the whole collaboration and the partnership, it builds our brand. It builds who we are and what we are. We all are working together to help each other's organization thrive. We could not do it just by ourselves. And so when we're playing here at the Overture Center, it's getting into people's mind of what's going on. And so when we decide to go somewhere else to have a concert, people may have heard it through Overture Center. And also, part of our relationship with the Overture Center is our ticket seller. And then so everything that we are doing, most of it is going through Overture Center at some time. And so it's a great collaboration. And then so we're all working together. There's a great sense of trust and synergy between our organizations that even, when we're scheduling, we may schedule 3 years out for things. Overture Center has so trust us resident arts organizations. Many of us will get together before we even get to the Overture Center and submit a schedule and try to create ways that we all can work well together and, and balance all of our needs before it's even submitted to the Overture Center. And the Overture Center will try to make sure if we can make everything work with including all the things going on at the Overture Center. So, when we're now going out into the community, it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have that base here. We would not be able to go to the Wanakees, the other communities, if we were not really having, a strong base here. And one last thing I will have to say, and I'm not changing the question, is, what we try to do is make Madison better. That's all that we're trying to do, is we are trying to all make Madison such a destination that people will say that, this is a place that we want to be, whether it's living here or visiting here. And then so why we love the Overture Center so much is because why people come is the experience. There's the artistic experience people come to when they're seeing a presentation of any kind, but it's also the other experiences, and then some of the experiences is the energy that they receive when they're walking in this building. And so we want to make sure that people are having that great experience because I don't want to sound bad, but patrons can be fickle. And then so if they have a bad experience, they may not come back. And that experience will go everywhere from parking to if, there's no lobby space or their sound is horrible to hear. All of those things will contribute to all of our organizations. And the Overture Center staff in particular, they're very helpful to make sure that we're able to produce those experiences for people that people will enjoy coming to all of our presentations. And, and it's a great thing that we have this here in Madison. And after 34 years in this arts industry, I couldn't imagine a better place to be than Madison, Wisconsin.
That's, we'll be including that in our sales video. A quick question for the resident companies. What do you see the future aspirations for the relationship with the Overture over the next few years to decade? How do you want to grow as the Overture Center goes from 20 to 30 years?
Well, I think the way I would answer that is to say that the way we've been working together over the past 4 years, so speaking to how the Overture's leadership became this shared leadership model, at the same time, I think that the way the residents work together with each other and then with Overture has gotten so much stronger. And, we're now at the point where we go, what can we be grateful for about the pandemic? Not a lot, but an improvement in how we work together is a big one. I've had the privilege for the last, 12 years of chairing the Resident Company Advisory Board here, meets every month or so to talk through issues, and leadership of all the resident orgs alongside leadership from Overture get together. And those meetings that were on Zoom for quite a long time really intensified during the pandemic, and I just think led to a greatly heightened collaboration between all of the relevant organizations that share this beautiful space. And so it's less that I personally, or on behalf of Forward, am thinking, what's the big thing we want to change, so much as how do we just keep growing and building that wonderful collaboration and communication that we've all found over these last few years.
Yeah, I think for me, my biggest goal is to increase and continue the community engagement, especially with our youth. Because as I said, I come from New York City, and I can still remember the first time I was walked up to Lincoln Center, and you see this grandiose building, and it's intimidating, as most performing arts centers are. You go to Kennedy Center, and it's intimidating. It's so big, and it seems just so out of reach from a world where I'm from. So my main goal and mission in life is always to try to really increase the education, the outreach, and the impact to the community as well as our youth, because those are the ones who are the future leaders that will be sitting up here and the future patrons that will hopefully be in our audiences. So we have to find even greater ways to bring them in and let them know that this building is here for them, that the things that we are producing here are for them, and they are welcome to come into this space.
I think another important thing is that Overture Center requires us to evolve as organizations. And so even, the Madison Symphony Orchestra, when the former executive director, Rick Mackey, left, we had about a year and a half or so that we had a shared model situation where the leadership team at the Madison Symphony was the co-CEOs until I arrived. And so it requires us to have to think differently. It requires us to evolve as organizations, because it is very easy for arts organizations to, this is the same way we've done it for year after year after year, and have a hard time getting out of the box. And so as the world is changing, we as arts organizations have to continue to evolve. And so, being here, it's helping us arts organizations, even push our boundaries and make ourselves uncomfortable at times to have to change. We have to figure out how to make things work with the rising expenses. We have to figure out how to keep things going, and how to think of even different programming that we may not be doing currently, to figure out the community of today, who are we trying to reach? And so all of those things are wonderful, and it's great that we're not having to do it in a bubble. We are able to do it with other arts organizations, and we can collectively brainstorm on how can we make this work. We want to do this, we want to do that, and it's just great that we have that collaboration to be able to do those things.
We're here to celebrate 20 years of the Overture Center, and you have a theme. The big 2-0. If you look up, there's the symbol. Where did the theme come from, Emily and the team, or Jeannie?
Yeah, so Robert had spoken about how everyone who walks into this building, it's really about the experience. It's not just the program that they're seeing, it's the energy in the building. It is potentially a transformational experience when they see an art form they've never seen before. It's them learning something they didn't expect to learn while they're enjoying a performance. And we started thinking about our Overture, and realizing that everyone who comes into this building has an O moment, a moment of either awe or realization or transformation. And then Emily smartly said, "Oh, and it's our big 2-0."
Well
so,
done.
yeah, that theme was born. And, as we thought about how to celebrate this, the other thing we realized was it really isn't just about this beautiful building that Jerry Frauci and Pleasant Roland built for us and for all of our resident organizations. It's about all the people who have brought it to life. And so we're not just celebrating this amazing building. We're really celebrating everyone who's walked into this building to bring it to life. So the stories that we'll relay through social media, through our blogs, through our advertising, through storytelling in many of our events will be about our volunteers, our employees, our resident organizations, the artists who grace our stages. Who am I forgetting? Our donors, our amazing donors, our patrons. So you will see a lot of that coming to life, both in our marketing materials. We're doing a huge celebratory book that will be mailed to our community the end of September in correlation with that. And then we're throwing a big birthday fundraiser, of course. So our big 2-0 will be September 28th, not on the exact birthday, but we are going to have a blast. We are going to have performances, stations, games, interactive themes, artists on the stage actually creating art live, dancing. What else, Emily? What am I forgetting?
A backstage experience. You'll be able to
with
walk
all the resident organizations.
back and through Overture Hall, so you'll get to see the dressing rooms, and our wonderful team here on the resident company side will be activating it. So you'll kind of get a taste of what it feels like behind the scenes, and then you can come on stage and get a 360 selfie, so you can have your own moment on Overture Hall stage. I also programmed a soundtrack of all music that only by artists have performed at Overture, so when you come and you're like, this is a really kind of crazy playlist, that's why. A little bit of an Easter egg. And I have to say, too, I look out in this audience and I see a lot of individuals and organizations that were physically a part of creating this space. So I want to just give a huge shout out to Findor, Flad, Potter Lawson, who are also joining us as leading sponsors of this event. George Austin is here, Mike Hoffman. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, anyone who worked on Overture, can you just raise your hand? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we want to hear your stories about building it. I mean, I hear a few there, here and there when we go on tours with some of you, and they're crazy awesome stories. And I always learn something new about this building that is so incredible. I mean, when you think about it, we're combining 1920s, 1970s, and 2000s infrastructure. That's kind of nuts, and thank you for figuring it out.
All right, in one word, each panelist in one word, because we have 2 minutes. Robert, what is your future hope for the Overture Center? One word.
One word. You don't get one word from me.
That's 9.
Oh, put me on the spot like that. Let's just start with the other African American gentleman over there. That's fine.
We'll start with Chris then.
I'll say growth.
Emily.
Joy.
Jeannie.
Relevance?
Mike.
Influence.
Community.
Excitement.
Did you have enough time?
Amazement.
I love it. Let's give it a big round of applause for this amazing panel. From everyone downtown, we cannot thank you all enough for what you do for the economic strength, the vibrancy, the equity, the inclusion for downtown. It is all centered here at the Overture Center. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to our sponsors, Carlson, Black O'Callahan, and Battenberg, Ho Chunk Gaming, Madison, JP Cullen, Lake Ridge Bank, Urban Land Interest, the Madison Community Foundation, Whipley LLP, and the Overture Center. Please do join us again 2 Mondays from now on September 9th for the DMI annual celebration directly across the street at another arts venue at the Orpheum. Please do also join us back at the Edgewater Hotel on Wednesday. That's Wednesday, September 25th. We're going to have a discussion on the Madison Lakeways project, and Anna, the lead designer from Sasaki, will be here to join us. So another huge project here in the downtown. Thank you all for your support of the Overture Center, for DMI, and for downtown. Hope you have a wonderful long weekend. Stay safe and have a good weekend.